Today I'm going to be demonstrating how to create a drawing using the program Pixie. I've already opened the program Pixie, but I'm going to need a blank page so that I can create my drawing. At the top I use the page button, and I now have a blank canvas for the picture I'm going to create. If we look over at the right hand side of the page, you'll notice at the top there is the paint option. When you click on the paint option, it brings up a bunch of artistic tools that you can use to create your drawing. There are shapes that you could use, or a spray paint can, or a paint bucket that you can fill in areas with, as well as a variety of paint tools. There's also an eraser in case you make a mistake. I'm going to be creating today a house using some shapes and a couple of the other tools to give you an idea of how to use the option of paint in Pixie. So let me start with a shape of a triangle because I'm going to be making the roof of the house. And I'm going to choose the color of blue. Down at the bottom you see the options of all the colors you can use, and you can change your blue from a light blue to a darker blue depending on what you want to use. You can also change the width of the line that you draw with. You can have a thin line, or you can go all the way up to where you have a thicker line. But for the house I'm going to draw, I'm going to choose this thin line right there. I'm going to make my triangle about in the middle of the page, and you just stretch it out to the size you want it to be. And go ahead and stop. And for the bottom of the house, I'm going to use a square. And there I've made my house. Okay, I've gone ahead and added a door and a window to my house, but now I want to add some texture so the house doesn't look so plain and boring. So I'm going to go up to the option of Paint Bucket, where I can fill in an area. And when you pull that up, you'll notice there's a bunch of different options of textures you can use for inside of your house. And I've chosen to use this one up at the top here. Kind of looks like gravel for the roof of the house, and I'm going to do a solid blue for the regular base of the house. Okay, now that we have our house done, let's go ahead and put a tree on the left hand side of the house. To make the tree I'm going to use the paintbrush, and it's a solid paintbrush color, and the color in the middle shows me that I've got a blue dot. It's the size of the shape that I'm going to be drawing, but do I want a big dot for a big tree, or do I want a little dot for a little tree? You get to make your choice there. So I'm going to put it somewhere in the middle. And then of course I need to change the color because I want a brown tree, not a blue tree. So I'm going to start placing my tree somewhere on the side over here. And okay, now I've made my tree in the corner over there, and I'm going to give it some texture in leaves. The crayon option, as you can see in the circle, gives us a textured look that I like for making the leaves. So I'm going to do that size, make it green because our leaves need to be green. And if I just blot it around, it looks like there's a bunch of leaves all over my tree. So I will continue doing that until I've got the size of leaves that I want. Now that my tree is done, I think I'm going to add a little bush. So I'm going to use this paintbrush that's more streaked, like maybe a bush is. I'm going to put the bush a little bit smaller here next to my house, and on my bush I'm going to put some berries. So I'm going to show you how to use the spray paint option. So let's go up to the spray paint can, and as you see when you pull that up, there's a bunch of different options for what your spray paint will come out looking like. The first one I like because it looks like a bunch of little dots, and if I choose it in red, then I'm going to spray it on my bush, and it looks like I have a bunch of berries in my little bush. So there's my berry bush. On the other side of my house, I think I'm going to put some flowers, so I'm going to choose to use the marker option, and I'm going to make them small, but this is where I'm going to show you how to use the symmetry option in the middle here. If you click on for symmetry, you get a bunch of choices of what you would like to do with your symmetry. I'm going to use just a couple different angles on my symmetry, maybe this one, the 6. And I'll show you that if you start in the middle and kind of work your way out, you get a spiral look to it. Let's do some in yellow and a yellow. There you go. I also like the spiral look for the sun I'm going to put in the corner, but I'm going to use that with many different symmetry options and make it bright yellow. And if I take that and I pull out from the corner, you can see that it will make streaked marks like your sun in the corner. The other option for symmetry that I like is the round one, which works well with my birds in the sky. I'm going to go back to crayon for that one and put some birds in my sky, and it makes them perfectly symmetrical as they're flying through the sky. The only thing left that I haven't done is the leaves for my flowers over here. So let's go back to the straight line. Let's take symmetry off, and I have leaves for my little flowers in my garden. And there you have several options for using paint and creating a drawing using the Pixie program. There's many more choices that you can use. Have fun exploring.